Hey everyone, it's Warren here from Insta360. We've checked out the Insta360 Air a little while ago, and today, thanks to the team at Gearbest in Insta360, we've got its older sibling, the Insta360 One. So let's do an unboxing and let's check it out. Hey everyone, so thanks again to the team at Gearbest in Insta360. We've got an Insta360 One here. So we'll quickly do an unboxing. I know it's a little bit late, but we'll still do it right now, and then I'll quickly give you my first impression. We'll have a quick play with it and see what it looks like. So, stop right there. That video was recorded quite a fair few months ago when the Insta360 One first came out. So a few things have actually changed since then. So instead of forcing you to watch that boring video, and I did watch it again, it was pretty long and boring, I've shortened it, and this is what you need to know about an Insta360 One. Okay, so here's what you get in the box. You get an Insta360 One camera, you get a tripod which also acts as a lens cover, you get a lens cloth, you get a micro USB cable, you get a warranty card and a quick start guide, and last but not least you also get a fishing line which you can use as a bullet time attachment, and I'll talk about this a little bit later. It's got dual 24 megapixel cameras with f2.2 Sony CMOS sensors. The photo resolutions are 6912 by 3456 pixels. It records in full 4K videos at 30 frames per second, or 2.5K videos at 60 frames per second, or 2K videos at 120 frames per second, which is also used for bullet time. It allows live streaming of up to 4K videos, and one of the most impressive things about the Insta360 One is its 6-axis gyro-based image stabilizer. As you can see, the Insta360 design looks quite a bit different to other 360 cameras on the market. First of all, it comes with a lens and camera protector, which is always handy. When you're packing things away, the most important thing to protect on a 360 camera are the lenses. It comes with a hard case, which is good. It protects the lens, and it also acts as a tripod. So if you pull it out, you plug it on the other side, and you got yourself a mini tripod. I'm not a fan of this tripod because it raises the camera a little bit higher than where I want it to be. Sometimes when you put it on the ground or put it on the table, you want it to be as close to the ground as you can. But it is good that it's a 2-in-1 where it does protect your lens, which is something I'm really after with all my 360 cameras, especially the way that the lens should protrude out in all the 360 cameras. It's good to have a protective case for it. The camera is pretty much plastic all the way around, but it's quite solid build. It's got some harder plastic here, but it's really nice and solid. It's got a good weight for it. So it's actually quite nicely built, and everything is nice and tight, and there's no loose, it doesn't feel cheaply made. As you can see, there's 2 lenses as per all 360 cameras, but they do not align directly to one another. Initially I thought it may have some issues when we come to look at stitchings and things like that, but I don't think it really have any issue. It was a concern I shouldn't have worried about. And also, since the release of this camera, there are a few other 360 cameras which have the cameras which are not aligned directly behind each other. So there's the 2 cameras there. On the top there's a little microphone, so this is where you record the sound. On the bottom there's a tripod thread, so you can just put your standard tripod, your mini tripod, your selfie stick, whatever you want there. And there's a micro SD card right there, you can see that. It is a little bit difficult to get the micro SD card in and out in that tight space. It might just be my chubby fingers, but I have trouble trying to insert the micro SD card back in. And I normally just need another micro SD or a standard SD or something just to help me push it back in to stabilize it. On one side of the camera, you have the button, and that's the only button on this camera. This button controls everything, taking the photo, videos, or activating bullet time. The other thing with the button is that I find that it's in a position where obviously it's easy to press, but sometimes it's too easy to press. So if you're putting the camera back in the case, for example, I knock it sometimes because that's how you hold the camera itself. So I end up taking just a black photo. It's not big a deal, but obviously when you press the button to turn the camera on, and you can't really just pull it back out to make sure you turn it off properly, and then when you put it back in again, you might turn it on again. It's just a slight annoyance there. On the other side of the camera, you'll find the micro SD connection for you to charge the camera itself, and also with just a little flick here, nicely tucked away in here, you'll see the lightning connector for your Apple device. So this is where you plug it into your iPhone or iPad, so you get the live view for the camera and also to download photos onto your phone. The first thing you have to know about the Insta360 One mobile app is that you can only get live view when recording if you have the camera physically connected to your mobile device. And this is a big thing for me, as I use live view all the time and I hardly ever want to shoot it attached to my phone or iPad. You can still connect to the camera via Bluetooth for remote shooting. However, you no longer have any live view of what you're shooting. So if remote live view is important for you, then this probably isn't the camera for you. Secondly, you can only view or copy photos and videos to your phone if you're connected to the camera. I can live with this, but again, it isn't something that I would expect to be a limitation for this iteration of 360 cameras. Finally, I have the iOS version of the Insta360 One, and I actually don't have an iPhone. So I've been using an iPad as my remote device, and it's been working fine for the first 3 months. However, for whatever reason, it no longer connects anymore and it just crashes. I can still connect to it via Bluetooth, but it means that I can no longer get live view on my iPad when shooting. Even before this, I have had the app crash a few times on me, and I really hope that Insta360 can make the app more stable and fix the issue I have with physically connecting to my iPad. Luckily, Insta360 provide a free and very good desktop app for both PC and Mac, which you can use on your computer to do all the stitching and bullet time rendering work. So it just means that you have to copy the files off the micro SD card and import it into the desktop app. Apart from those issues, the mobile app itself is actually quite clean and easy to use, and when it is working properly, it has one of the better UI for usability. Things are where you expect to find them, and I love the fact that it allows me to have full manual control over the camera settings, because these are things that are lacking in some of the other 360 cameras. The ability to manually control your ISO and shutter speed is something that I think is a must-have for all 360 or cameras in general. I just wish that Insta360 can fix some of the issues that we found, and it can really be one of the better 360 camera app that we can benchmark off. And one more thing to note, even though my Insta360 One is the iOS version, the app itself allows you to change it for iOS or Android mode, which means that I can actually still connect to my Android phone via Bluetooth to control remote shooting for the Insta360 One. And it is great that the camera itself is not locked into the ecosystem that you bought it with. The general image quality of both the photos and videos from the Insta360 One are quite good and looking nice and sharp. It definitely performs much better during the day, as the high ISO can become quite grainy. When comparing to the Xiaomi Mi 3 and the two Samsung Gear 360 cameras, the Insta360 One stand out in the sharpness. However, when zoomed in, you can see the artifacts that appears when an image is over sharpened. These artifacts and noise are also more prevalent at the darker, lower lights area in the photos. Overall, the sharp photos produced by the Insta360 One is nice for people who don't want to do too much post-processing and just want to shoot and post. However, I personally prefer the slightly softer but cleaner and smoother image that the Mi 3 produces. To test out the 6-axis gyro stabilization the Insta360 One offers, I did 2 tests. One where I'm walking while trying to hold the monopod up relatively still, and the same go at it where I'm swinging the monopod wildly back and forth. The extreme test is one I've used before to test out the Mi 3 stabilization as compared to a 360 camera mounted on a gimbal. As expected, the stabilized shot on the Insta360 One looks better than the non-stabilized shot. However, the extreme test is where it got interesting. The Insta360 One stabilization did a lot better than I expected it to, and here's another compare between the Insta360 One and the Mi 3 on the extreme test. And the Insta360 One definitely managed to make a smoother video than the Mi 3 in this extreme scenario. It's still not as good as a gimbal, but it's pretty good. I'm just going to test out the bullet time feature of it. I'm a bit worried this is kind of like a fishing string here. And I suppose it's going to swing this around. It could be disastrous, so let's test it out. Okay, so here's the deal with bullet time. It's probably as dangerous as it looks, and once I got over the initial excitement for it, I really don't think it's a feature that I'll use very often. And the result is a bit of a hit and miss. I've had better result than the one that you're seeing right now in this review, but I've never really had anything that's special that makes me want to master this. So bullet time is a great party trick that you might want to do it every now and then just to show off what you can do, but I haven't really found things that I really want to shoot bullet time with, and when I do, it's either I don't have the attachment with me handy, or I don't have the room for me to swing the camera around. So I probably wouldn't recommend using bullet time as a decision driver on whether you want the Insta360 One or not. Okay, so here's what's good about the Insta360 One. The 6-axis gyro stabilization is definitely one of its highlights. It's got great sharpness in good light. It's got some video streaming features which other cameras don't have. The mobile app user interface is clean and intuitive. It allows you to shoot to RAW, which is always handy. And last but not least, Insta360 have a great desktop app for both the PC and the Mac. The biggest downside of the Insta360 One is a live preview requires physical connection to the camera itself, and I think that's a must-have for all 360 cameras. The hardware design is also questionable. The round shape is nice, but it's also not very practical because you can't really stand it up and make it stable. There's no LCD screen, and a single button often makes things harder to use than it should be. The image and videos are also often sharpened, and you see the artifacts in the results when zoomed in. And also the camera doesn't handle low light very well with a high degree of noise and grain. So thank you everyone for watching my review and thoughts on the Insta360 One camera. I hope it helped you in deciding whether you still want this camera or not. It definitely has a few things going for it, and also a few things it has to fix. I really do like this 6-axis gyro stabilization implemented for this camera. It's probably the best of its class at this price range. But on the other side, there are issues with the mobile app. The UI and the design of the app is actually really good. But then some of the crashes I'm having and all the issues I'm having with connecting my iPad, that really needs to be addressed by Insta360. I really do like Insta360 as a company. I do think they have a right roadmap for the cameras. They do have the beginners, the medium tier, the amateurs and enthusiasts, and also the professional level 360 cameras. And I do want them to succeed as a company, and I do want their products to be successful. So I look forward to them updating the software and the firmwares and the new hardware to provide us with a greater 360 experience. So for those of you who are still interested in buying the Insta360 One, I'll set up a few links below this video at Gearbest to give you the best price that we could get for this camera at this point in time. And I do hope that you subscribe to my channel for more news, reviews and tips on 360 videos. So until the next video, it's Warren here from Overexposed 360. I'll catch you on the next video.